The number on the screen is almost impossible to believe. $1 billion. Not 1,000. Not 1 million. 1 billion. And the strangest part is not the amount. The strangest part is why your name became connected to it. Stay with me, because before this message ends, you are going to understand what this billion-dollar revelation truly represents and why the word vanishes matters more than the money itself. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that everything you have been struggling with financially has suddenly changed. Every bill. Every debt. Every dream you kept postponing because you didn't have enough. Every person you wished you could help. Every door that seemed locked. Now imagine receiving a message saying, "It's yours." Your heart would race. You would read it twice. Maybe 10 times. But before excitement takes control, there is something extremely important you must understand. Never send money, passwords, banking information, verification codes, or personal details to anyone claiming that you must pay something to receive a mysterious fortune. Because the billion-dollar message you are hearing right now is not permission to fall for a stranger's promise. This message goes deeper. The $1 billion represents a level of abundance so enormous that your current circumstances cannot contain the thought of it. And perhaps that is exactly why this message found you at a moment when you have been questioning what comes next. There have been nights when you wondered whether your effort would ever produce the breakthrough you imagined. You kept going. You kept trying. You watched other people receive opportunities while you wondered when your own season would change. But listen carefully. There is something more valuable than suddenly receiving $1 billion. It is becoming the person who knows what to do when opportunity finally arrives. Because money without wisdom can disappear. Opportunity without preparation can vanish. A door without courage can close. And a dream without action can remain a dream for decades. That is the first revelation. The thing you must claim immediately is not imaginary money. It is your willingness to stop living as though your future has already been decided by your past. Your previous failures do not own tomorrow. Your previous rejection does not own tomorrow. The person who walked away does not own tomorrow. The opportunity you missed does not own tomorrow. Your current bank balance does not own tomorrow. And the voice inside you saying, "Maybe nothing will ever change," certainly does not own tomorrow. Picture a vault. Inside that vault is not cash. Inside it are the ideas you haven't acted upon. The skills you haven't developed. The conversations you've been afraid to begin. The applications you haven't submitted. The projects you keep delaying. The prayers you almost stopped praying. The possibilities you dismissed because they seemed too enormous. That vault has been sitting inside your future. But a vault is useless if nobody opens it. And this is where everything changes. Because your next chapter may not arrive looking like $1 billion transfer. It might arrive disguised as one decision. One phone call. One idea. One introduction. One opportunity. One person believing in your work. One morning when you finally decide that enough is enough. Most life-changing moments look ordinary when they first appear. That is why people miss them. They are waiting for thunder. They are waiting for fireworks. They are waiting for a giant announcement. Meanwhile, destiny often whispers. Start. Call. Apply. Create. Leave. Learn. Try again. And because the instructions seem small, people underestimate what could be waiting on the other side. Think about this. $1 billion company can begin with an idea scribbled on paper. A lifelong relationship can begin with one conversation. A completely different career can begin with one application. A healthier financial future can begin with one disciplined decision. A restored dream can begin with one courageous morning. Enormous outcomes often have tiny beginnings. So when the title says, "Claim it before it vanishes," understand the deeper warning. Time vanishes. Opportunities vanish. Years vanish. Energy changes. Circumstances change. Doors open and close. But while you are here, while you can think, choose, learn, build, forgive, create, and move, you still possess something priceless. Possibility. And there is another revelation coming. Because there is a reason the amount had to be 1 billion. 1 billion is a number so large that your imagination has to stretch just to comprehend it. And maybe your imagination has become too accustomed to survival. Maybe lately you've been asking, how do I just get through this month? How do I survive this situation? How do I stop everything from falling apart? Those questions are understandable. But survival questions create survival-sized answers. Tonight, ask a different question. What could my life become if I stopped assuming the smallest possible future? That question changes things. Not magically. Not instantly. But internally. Because suddenly you begin noticing opportunities you previously ignored. You begin treating your time differently. You begin protecting your attention. You begin understanding that 20 minutes wasted every day becomes hours, days, and eventually months. And then another realization hits you. Your attention is a currency. Everyone wants it. Apps want it. Advertisements want it. Drama wants it. Arguments want it. Fear wants it. People who have no intention of building your future still want pieces of your attention. And every day you are spending that currency. The question is, what are you buying with it? If you spend your attention on comparison, you purchase insecurity. If you spend it on endless outrage, you purchase exhaustion. If you spend it learning something valuable, you purchase capability. If you spend it creating, you purchase possibility. If you spend it strengthening meaningful relationships, you purchase connection. If you spend it building something worthwhile, you purchase progress. Suddenly, the billion-dollar message becomes clearer. Maybe you have been searching outside yourself for a fortune while unknowingly giving away the resources required to build one. Your time. Your focus. Your discipline. Your creativity. Your courage. And once a day disappears, nobody can wire it back into your account. That is why this message says immediately. Not because some supernatural bank transfer expires in 60 seconds. Because your life is happening immediately. Right now. This minute is real. Tomorrow is only a promise your imagination makes. And there is one question you need to answer before moving forward. If $1 billion genuinely appeared in your account legally and safely tomorrow morning, what would you change first? Would you leave a situation that has been draining you? Would you finally rest? Would you help your family? Would you travel? Would you start something? Would you learn? Would you create? Would you give? Would you stop tolerating certain behavior? Would you finally admit what you truly want? Now remove the $1 billion. Which of those changes can you begin without it? That question can expose everything. Maybe you cannot buy the house today. But you can begin saving. Maybe you cannot leave your job tomorrow. But you can begin developing another skill. Maybe you cannot travel around the world. But you can start planning the first journey. Maybe you cannot solve your family's problems. But you can become more present. Maybe you cannot launch the entire dream. But you can take the first step. And sometimes the first step is the fortune. Because without the first step, the 1,000th step never exists. But there is another layer. $1 billion would reveal people. Suddenly, everyone would have advice. Everyone would have an emergency. Everyone would have an investment. People who ignored you might remember your number. People who doubted you might suddenly say they always believed in you. And that teaches a powerful lesson. Prosperity requires boundaries. Success requires discernment. Growth requires knowing who genuinely values you and who only values what they can receive from you. So if your life begins changing, don't become arrogant. Become observant. Watch who celebrates without demanding. Watch who supports without manipulating. Watch who can hear good news about you without immediately turning the conversation toward themselves. Watch who was present before there was anything to gain. Those people are rare. Their value cannot be measured in dollars. And perhaps that is another reason you needed to hear this. Because you may already possess riches you've stopped noticing. Someone who loves you. Someone who calls you. Someone who would sit beside you when everything falls apart. A peaceful night's sleep. A healthy relationship. A genuine friend. A second chance. The ability to begin again. These things don't look impressive on a bank statement. Until you lose them. Then suddenly you understand their price. A person with $1 billion can still desperately want something money cannot purchase. More time with someone who died. One more conversation. One more ordinary Sunday afternoon. One more hug. One more chance to apologize. One more chance to say, I love you. And that changes the meaning of wealth completely. So claim what is available while it is available. Claim the conversation you've been postponing. Claim the apology you've been too proud to give. Claim the morning you've been wasting. Claim the skill you've been afraid to learn. Claim the dream you've been calling unrealistic. Claim your responsibility for the next decision. Because there is one thing nobody can promise you. How many opportunities remain? And now comes the $1 billion question. What if the fortune wasn't sent to your bank account? What if it was sent to your mind as an idea? How many ideas have you dismissed because they weren't perfect? How many times have you said, "Someone probably already did it. I'm too late. I don't know enough. I don't have enough money. People might laugh. Maybe later." Those sentences have buried more dreams than failure ever could. Failure at least means you entered the arena. Fear keeps you outside watching everyone else play. And there are people less talented than you building the kind of life you want simply because they were willing to begin badly. Read that again in your mind. They were willing to begin badly. Their first attempt wasn't beautiful. Their first video wasn't perfect. Their first business idea wasn't brilliant. Their first presentation wasn't polished. Their first creation might have embarrassed them. But they kept moving. And movement taught them what thinking alone never could. So perhaps your next breakthrough doesn't require another sign. Perhaps it requires repetition. Show up tomorrow. Then again. Then again. Become boringly consistent. Because extraordinary results often come from ordinary actions performed long after excitement disappears. And here is where many people lose their fortune. They become excited for one night. They promise themselves everything will change. They wake up motivated. 3 days later, the old routine returns. A week later, nothing changed. A month later, the message is forgotten. That is how possibility vanishes. Not dramatically. Quietly. One postponed day at a time. So make this different. Choose one action. Not 20. 1. Something measurable. Something you can begin. Something that moves your life 1 inch toward the future you keep imagining. Write it down. Then protect it. You don't need everyone to understand. You don't need applause. You don't need permission from people who aren't living the consequences of your decisions. You need clarity. And you need movement. Because 1 year from now, there will be 2 versions of you. One version will remember this moment as another emotional message that felt powerful for a few minutes. The other version will remember it as the moment something changed. Which one will exist? That decision isn't hiding in tomorrow. It is being made today. And now I want you to imagine something. You wake up exactly 1 year from today. You look around. One major problem that currently worries you has been solved. One dream you thought was impossible has begun becoming real. Your mind feels calmer. Your finances are stronger. Your relationships are clearer. Your confidence is different. You look backward at this version of yourself. What would future you desperately want you to start doing today? Listen carefully to the answer. Because that answer may be worth more than any imaginary billion-dollar transfer. And there is one final revelation. People often believe wealth means having enough money to never worry again. But there will always be something money cannot control. Uncertainty. Loss. Change. Time. Human emotion. So true abundance cannot simply mean possessing more. It must also mean needing less fear to live. It means knowing who you are when circumstances change. It means having principles that money cannot purchase from you. It means being generous without becoming foolish. Ambitious without becoming empty. Successful without forgetting the people who loved you before success arrived. Strong without becoming cold. Hopeful without surrendering common sense. And grateful without becoming complacent. That kind of wealth survives numbers. So yes, claim your billion. Claim the billion possibilities that exist between who you are and who you could become. Claim the value of your remaining time. Claim your attention back from everything that has been stealing it. Claim your courage back from the rejection that embarrassed you. Claim your confidence back from the person who underestimated you. Claim your discipline back from procrastination. Claim your future back from the mistakes of yesterday. But never confuse faith with falling for financial deception. If someone genuinely contacts you claiming you've received an enormous amount of money, verify everything independently and never pay upfront fees or reveal sensitive information. Your future deserves wisdom as much as it deserves hope. And maybe that is the greatest revelation of all. You don't need to wait for $1 billion before you begin living like your life is valuable. Your life is valuable now. Your hour is valuable now. Your attention is valuable now. Your relationships are valuable now. Your opportunities are valuable now. Your next decision is valuable now. So what exactly is about to vanish? This moment. It is already disappearing. The second you heard a few moments ago is gone forever. The morning becomes afternoon. The day becomes memory. August becomes another page in the calendar. Years that once seemed far away suddenly become stories we tell. That isn't meant to frighten you. It is meant to wake something inside you. Use what you have. Love people while they're here. Build while you have energy. Speak while you have the chance. Learn while you have access. Try while the door is open. Rest when your body needs rest. Walk away when something repeatedly destroys your peace. Stay when something valuable deserves another effort. And above everything, stop waiting for your life to become extraordinary before treating it as precious. You may never receive a mysterious billion-dollar transfer. But you woke up with something no billionaire can purchase from yesterday. Another day. Another chance. Another decision. Another page that hasn't been written yet. And perhaps the fortune was hidden there all along. Because the greatest tragedy would not be watching $1 billion vanish. The greatest tragedy would be discovering years from now that you had opportunities, ability, people who loved you, ideas worth pursuing, and time to begin, but you kept waiting for a miracle dramatic enough to force you into action. Don't wait for dramatic. Begin with ordinary. One decision. 1 hour. One courageous action. Then another. Then another. Let other people underestimate small beginnings. You know better now. The seed never looks like the tree. The first brick never looks like the building. The first dollar never looks like financial freedom. The first attempt never looks like mastery. The first step never looks like the destination. But everything enormous starts somewhere small. And your somewhere can be right here. So claim it. Not through a suspicious link. Not by sending someone money. Not by believing an anonymous stranger promising instant riches. Claim it through the choices nobody else can make for you. Claim your time. Claim your focus. Claim your dream. Claim your wisdom. Claim your next move. And when tomorrow arrives, don't ask whether your billion-dollar future magically appeared. Ask whether you became one day closer to the life you want. Because if the answer is yes, something extraordinary has already begun. And this time, don't let it vanish.